And day well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Undumoto. It is my joy to welcome you today. Today is a very special day, as you all know, and I am really wishing all moms a happy Mother's Day. Now, I'd like to just play this video quickly for you. That is Happy Mother's Day. I hope you enjoyed that music. As a matter of fact, that's my favorite music. It's so calming. And when you think about what we do all year long, it is good to have a moment dedicated to us to get quiet wherever we are and just meditate and think about what's ahead of us after today, because reality is going to set in again. And we are going to go back to what we do and what we do best. I want to thank ChinEke for this wonderful opportunity that we call today. As a woman, I am happy to be here because, anytime that you are here, you have the opportunity to celebrate your children, you celebrate your family. And so I'm grateful that God has seen fit to keep me alive. I'm still alive, so I am grateful. I'd like to welcome you to Chiism Live. And this is our forum for discussing everything spiritual and then some. Before I go into the discussion about what the special day represents, I want to welcome my co-host, none other than Dibia Ochuaja Udee Onyioha.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Happy Mother's Day to my wife, my dear Dibia Ochuaja. Happy Mother's Day to my mother who passed away last year. May her soul rest in perfect peace. Happy Mother's Day to my oldest sister, Dibia Ochuaja. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there that make the world go around. Without you, love would not exist.
And there it is. And there it is. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I want to bring in Dr. Symona Mone. Happy Mother's
Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Oh, I forgot. Happy Mother's Day to Dr. Symona. I beg. Happy Mother's Day, beautiful lady. Happy Mother's Day.
Yes, happy Mother's Day. For all of the mothers. Yes.
Yes.
I before we get started, I just want to make some statements while you guys are on the screen. Thank you to all the mothers out there. I'd like to thank the birth mothers who go through 9 months and then who go through the pain of delivery to bring forth life and nurture the life until they become human. Before they become human, they are incubated in our womb. That's what makes us special, that womb. So thank you for those of you who go through whatever it takes to use your womb to keep the world populated. Thank you to the surrogate mothers, those who do not necessarily choose to be mothers at a time, but when the situation came up and they had to be mothers, they took the step to become mothers. Those who took other people's children into their homes, the bonus mothers, happy Mother's Day to you. Though you have your own children, but you take in someone else's child and love them like your own. My sister-in-law, my dear Onyioha, thank you for being a surrogate mother, a wonderful mother to your sons, and a surrogate mother to my wonderful nephew, Chukwuemeka Onyioha. I'd like to thank my dear sister Obi for being a mother at the time that she needed to be, to take over motherhood for our family. When our mother passed away, she became the mother of the family. So happy Mother's Day. I got the opportunity to speak to her today. Happy Mother's Day to my darling daughter, Adora, who is the mother of my 2 gorgeous grandsons. Without her, I would not be a mother today. And I wish her the best of what I received as a mother as she goes through the journey of watching those boys become adults. I want God, I pray for God for her life, give her strength, give her the energy, because she got 2 boys. It's not easy. She got to raise them 2 boys. So I know that she's up to the task. Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to my darling friend, Dr. Symona. Thank you for always being available, making yourself available, being a mother to even the grown folk. The little ones and the grown folk. Thank you for being there. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
I would like to thank my dear friend, Queen Mother Shundara, who is no longer with us, but is with us in spirit. She was a mentor when all is said and done. She kept it real. She was a mother to so many. I would like to say Happy Mother's Day to all my friends, my real friends, all the family members that I have not mentioned, those who pick up the phone and call me when I'm not feeling well, and even those who think about me, though they may not call, but those who call themselves my friends. Happy Mother's Day to all of OMC mothers.
Yes.
All those women who take it upon themselves to reach out to other women, to grown women, to children. Happy Mother's Day to you. For all the children that you're taking care of, your own. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the women who are trying to help the children at the IDPS camps, to feed them. Those who have made donations because they're mothers and they couldn't bear to see other children suffering where they are. Thank you. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. Those of you who are not mothers, but you have the heart of a mother. You may not be a mother today, but tomorrow you may be a mother. And for those children waiting for a warm body, I hope that you'll be prepared to welcome them when they are ready to come into this world. Happy Mother's Day for those who want children but cannot have them. But you know, there are so many children out here that call you auntie. Remember, but mother is not just, you're not just a mother who birthed the children, just the one that gives hugs, that smiles. There's an Indian woman that goes around, all she does is just hug. So we know there's so many non-mothers, if you know what I mean, non-birth mothers who are still mothers, who extend their arms and hug and give love. Happy Mother's Day to you. Let's see. Happy Mother's Day to my dear, she's no longer with us, obviously, to my great-grandmothers, I remember my grandmother, the mothers that took care of us when we were little. Daddy Bome, that's my aunt. And there are so many of them that have passed away, but we know that they're with us. So happy Mother's Day to you. I pray for those of you who still have breath. I hope that you understand how precious you are to humanity. And the conversation today is about motherhood. Motherhood, how precious it is to be a mother, and that nobody has the right to criminalize motherhood in any way or form. Being a mother is not an easy thing. For those men who think that they can control a woman's body, motherhood is not an easy thing. It's not something you can dictate, because it's not a one-day affair. It takes 9 months. With that comes hormones, hormonal changes, mental challenges. It takes a lot to carry a child. Pregnancy is a contract between ChinEke and the mother. It is a contract that can be broken depending, and ChinEke gives you the leeway to make that decision when you're giving a child. Through science, you may find that that child is not healthy, and you may not be prepared to fulfill that contract. And you pray to ChinEke, and ChinEke does not frown upon you for making a decision that's best for you and for the child. There are many children, many pregnancies that are dangerous. Ectopic pregnancies, pregnancies with children who are deformed, terribly deformed. You go to a mother has to think about, how do I bring such a child into the world? Because it's not about just having a human life. breathing and walking and walking and moving about. It is the quality of life. That's what makes life. Life is not just about breathing air and just being here. Quality of life is important. So sometimes the mother has to make a decision. Do I bring this child forward? And if I do, what kind of life would that child have? When we pray, when we break the kola nut, when you listen to somebody, a spiritualist or an owner of a house, break the kola nut, there are certain things, first and critical initial things that they ask. We have brought the kola. It is said that whoever brings the kola brings life. Life, yes. Hear me, it's critical. That's the first thing they ask for. It is said that whoever brings this fruit, this nut, this kola nut, brings life. Because life is critical. That's the first thing. And so when they start to ask ChinEke for something, they say, ChinEke, there are 4 things we ask of you. Long life. Here again, life. Yes. It's the first thing they ask for. Long life. Then the next thing they ask for is good health. Then the third thing they ask for is children. Then they ask for what I need to raise the children. Because if you give me one, if you give me all of these and leave one out, I feel that I've not been blessed. Mm-hmm. Yes. So if I have these children and I don't have the means to raise them, I feel cursed. They have to be fed. They have to be housed. They have to be educated. If I don't have the opportunity to do that for them, I don't feel that that I've been blessed. So when a woman decides, and the reason I'm talking about this is because of this possibility that Roe v. Wade in America is a law that may be struck down. What was that law? For those of you who don't know, it was a woman in Texas who got pregnant with her 3rd child but did not want that 3rd child because she couldn't afford it. But Texas saw abortion as a crime. So she got an attorney. It's a long process, but the 2 attorneys helped her. And they fought Wade, the attorney for Texas, so that she will have the right to abort the child. And that gave other women the right to have an abortion. But that abortion wasn't something she did out of joy. No woman has abortions out of joy. It's painful. You look at your circumstances. You look at who got you pregnant. Are they going to be there for the child? Are you prepared? Remember what I said, 4 things we ask of ChinEke. The 4th one, what I need to raise the child. Do I have that? If you're not in the position to do that, how do you raise a child? What if you were raped? Are you prepared to see that child, that man through that child? Is it fair to that child? Every day that you feel anger, you take it off on that child. I've seen videos of mothers who were raped and what they do to those kids. They carry that anger on to those children. One was one of about 8-month-old child. The way the mother was beating that baby. Because she was raped. She saw that man in that child. Is it fair to the child that it was brought into this world? Now somebody says, well, she could have it adopted. There are so many children wasting away in orphanages. It's not easy to just have them adopted. What about that 10-year-old who got pregnant by her father? by her uncle, by the neighbor, by somebody in the family or something. That child has got to have that child. A child having a child, is that healthy? Is this what we want to do to women now? Is it what we want to dictate to women? Now, even if you have a miscarriage, that is a problem for you if the law goes through. If you have a miscarriage, you have committed murder. You can't make a decision anymore about your body. There's a police brigade now responsible for what you do. If you are a mother and you have young girls and such a thing happens to them, are you prepared to be their mom? Are you prepared to raise the children yourself if you're for striking down the abortion? Are you prepared for a 12-year-old to not continue with their education so there'll be a mother? Are you ready to go back 50 years? That's where we're heading. Because you see, it's not just about abortion. It's not just about that. It is about everything else that is not in the Constitution that can be struck down. I said this yesterday. There's a governor that's talking about education should not be free. Education should not be free. We're going to have millions of babies born. And now you're insisting that they should be born, but you don't want to educate them. I said this yesterday. The men need to be careful supporting this law. Because it's not going to just be the women. Oh, no, The men will suffer for this as well. If you were thinking about educating yourself, doing whatever it is that you want, the plans that you have for your life, honey, you got 18 years to take care of a child. So if you're thinking, oh, it's a woman's problem, no, it's not. It's your problem too. Because now you have to take care of that baby for 18 years and counting. Or maybe 2, or maybe 3. Hey, it could be 4. For some people, it's 8, 9, 10. They're just having them. Having a child should be a joyful thing. In my community, we have Azizi. Do you remember? We have Azizi where the women go and celebrate the possibility of being mothers. It's a big deal. See, back then, let me just go back to Africa. We didn't have any problem with abortions. It was never a thing. Besides, we didn't have, nothing was set up for that. Nature takes care of that. Either your child goes full birth or you don't. And if you have a child, that's why we say it takes a whole village to raise a child. The way our communities were set up. If the mother didn't have a father or the father passed away, then the community helped. But you don't have that here. It doesn't take a community here to raise a child. Sorry. It takes your household to raise that child for the most part. If you're not going to give that fourth thing that we ask when we pour libations, and that is what we need to raise the child. If you're not going to provide the mother all of that, then you cannot make decisions for her. You can't tell a sick woman she wants to run the child. Even C-sections may be struck down. Birth control pills, you name it. This is men trying to take control over women's bodies. There are no laws that I know of, and if you know it, Dr. Monet, I want you to share it when I ask you to speak. Tell me the law that curtails a man's ability to have children or tells him what to do with his body. I want to know that law. So this is all about control. The women are getting too smart. They're getting too successful. They're getting too bold. Whatever their reasons are, it has nothing to do with loving children, because some of these people do not even want to support bills that will help children, that will help mothers. You have a child, you've got to worry about taking them, having babysitters. I look at my daughter and I wonder, what kind of life would she have had if she didn't have support? Babysitting support. That thing is expensive. There are daycare centers that cost more than college degrees. I'm grateful to God to keep me alive so I can be of assistance, that kind of assistance, when she needs that help. But there are so many people out here who don't have that kind of support. They don't have the support. They don't have the money, but you're demanding that they have these children. But when they have the children, you don't want to feed them. You whine about a woman making $15 an hour. You're upset about that. You don't even want to give her $15 an hour, but you want her to have children. Have you priced a diaper recently? She has to hold 2-3 jobs just to take care of one child. Let's not talk about all the other kids she may have. Having a baby is a contract between ChinEke and the mother and her husband. If they choose that this is the way they have to go, nobody has the right to come and tell them they can't do that. Nobody. Because when all is said and done, the government is not going to give you what you need. They'll give you pennies on the dollar. So they are going to be, particularly minority women are the ones who are going to suffer the most. People who don't have money, they will stay perpetually poor. Is that the idea, to keep these women of color perpetually poor? Because the rich woman can get on a plane and go anywhere and have her abortion, come back the very next day, and you wouldn't know anything about it. Now, if a woman has to go and have an abortion, depending on what states still allow that, she has to travel hundreds of miles. What if she doesn't have transportation? What if she doesn't have money? One of the recommendations that I have as a woman to my young sisters out there, be careful who you are sleeping with. Take care of your body, your temple, before you make that decision to engage with any man. Because let me tell you, your life is not going to be the same if this goes through. It will not be the same. So think about what you're doing and who you're doing whatever you're doing with. I want to bring in Dr. Symona. I want you to, let's just kind of have this conversation. What are your thoughts about this abortion issue?
My thoughts about the abortion issue is just like ChinEke. Everything is balanced. The whole universe is balanced. And we have to understand on one end or the other end that there has to be a balance. And so we don't want to abuse, the abortion system. But we do want to have things in place for protecting women.
That's right.
Because like now, black women, we have to understand, and a lot of our women don't know this. They're killing us in the hospitals when we're having our children. There has been a genocide against us from after slavery, because after slavery, we had no value anymore. So what was set in place, and we have to understand the history, what was set in place is, genocides. They were taking, doing hysterectomies on Black women without their permission. They've been doing a lot of things here in America. as a African American woman, I know things were set in place as an attack. Abortion originally was set in place as an attack. The person who created abortion, the woman, wanted to do a massive genocide on the Black people here. So we have to understand to use it in the proper way, to really make an informed decision if we're going to have abortion or if we're not going to have abortion, to make that informed decision and knowing what is going on. There was 3 million abortions done in the Black community. We're only 40 million in America. We're the number 1. So I know people personally that they're using abortion as a form of birth control. Use birth control opposed to the abortion method. Use birth control opposed to that. But that has to be more readily available in our communities. We need to have education as far as taking control of our maternal health. And so we won't have to go through the pain of going through abortion or the pain of any of that if we can take certain measures and we have awareness, we have availability to contraceptions, we have education. We need to have all of this in our communities, but there must be balance. So when people are thinking, you know, if you've had an abortion and you go and tell that doctor, well, I don't want any contraception, but you're still sexually active, you know that there's a potential that you can get pregnant again. Maybe it's a good idea for you to get some type of or form of birth control if you don't want to have any children, you know, as prevention, you know. So we need to have this education in our communities so that we won't have to go through that trauma, because it's a trauma. Having an abortion can be, for most women, is a trauma in itself. It's a hard decision, you know. So we must have balance. We must educate ourselves and look at all of our options, but see the government and see this law. I don't like the law because I think it opens the door to more fatalities of Black women.
Absolutely.
Because if a Black woman has a baby in her tubes, that baby will more than likely kill her. So if you're saying, well, she can't have, they can't, you know, she can't have an abortion at that critical point where this baby potentially kill her, then, you know, this is, you know, that can cause a lot of fatalities in our community. So we don't want that. We don't want that, you know, we're having more fatalities. There is a mandate, and I hate to say it, but people don't believe it because we live in this fluffy society and it's not publicized. There is funding now. There's funding. There's all types of things because they know they're killing Black women when they're having their children, and also killing infants in that hospital. Serena Williams almost got killed.
Her being wealthy didn't even matter.
You know, so this law, I feel there is too open of a space to cause more fatalities in our community. But also with the balance, I just advise our sisters to make sure, if you're not wanting children, to make sure you're getting some form of contraception. You know, and if you're just like Queen Mother, Your Excellency, and I love you. Happy Mother's Day. I just wanted to put that in there. I just feel that you're such a good role model. And so I feel that, you know, be proactive. Be proactive. Because there are things out there that can assist you. But see, that again, we don't have the availability and the education in our communities.
We don't. And Dr. Symona, here's the biggest problem I see is the intention is not to stop at abortion. That's not even what frightens me.
Yes.
What frightens me is the contraception you're talking about, that's going to be gone too. Read up on it. That's not going to be available. I mean, you cannot terminate. You can't even. There's a possibility. They were talking about the fact that the possibility, because this hasn't gone through, it's just a possibility. The possibility that the morning after pill can't even be available. In other words, babies cannot. I mean, you're going to have those babies. You see, and then when you think about historically, how many babies are found in toilets? Women using hangers. See, let me tell you, if a woman does not want a child, it's so traumatic for them that they'll do anything. So we're going back to that. And then it's a lot of Black women. Yes, a lot of people of color. You see, so yes, they have to prepare. If the contraception is available to them, as you've indicated earlier, it's not even available to a lot of them. You know, I mean, they're not free. So if you have to buy, you have to use money to get it. Okay, so you can't get it free. What little money you have to go and get it. And then when you do get it, now they are telling you money wouldn't even get it for you. You have to travel 600 miles, depending on where you are, to California, because California is going to be one of those states that will continue to have that. You know, I think Colorado, Michigan, perhaps. You know, I don't have all that list, but quite a list of states that will continue to make that available. I'm not advocating abortion. I agree with you. I'm not advocating it. As a matter of fact, it should be a last, you know, but it's still my focus is that the woman's body is her choice, what she chooses. Either she chooses contraception or abortion, whatever she chooses is up to her. You know, to mandate such a thing is extremely traumatic. Extremely traumatic. You know what I'm saying? You're a mother. You went through 8 months of pregnancy. I know what trauma that was on my body when I wanted the child. Now, can you imagine when you know the child is going to have a difficult life? Maybe the child is a rape victim. I mean, you are a rape victim, and so you're going to have this child. So think about what's going on in your mind for 9 months. And then that baby is born. Now, some people may just go ahead and say, hey, you know, it's my child, I'll have it. But there's some people that will not, psychologically, they're not going to be able to accept that. Particularly when you have a government that does not value life. Mm-hmm. Don't tell me about you value life when it's okay for people to have all these machine guns designed to kill. What life are you? What life? If you value life, you must value the woman's life. If you tell me, even if she was going to die, she must have that baby. It's not about life. You're not interested in life. You're interested in power. Power over a woman. Tell the truth. That's what this is about. It's not about preserving children. Because when they come here, you don't want to even be bothered with them. You don't want to feed them. Now, I'm going to bring a man's perspective into this. Let me add Dibia Ochuaja.
Yeah, see, you have to get me in trouble by bringing me in. Well, I tell you what, this conversation is very complex, and it's complex in a lot of different ways. First, you have to look at the historical context of abortion. Exactly when did abortion become illegal, and why is it illegal? I mean, is it illegal in one part of the country, and then other parts of the world, you have a different attitude over it? What is the political influence when it comes to abortion? What is the economic consequences of overpopulation, for example? China was involved in infanticide, right? Mm-hmm. You have the baby, but after the baby is born, the baby is killed. And China is not the only society that was involved in infanticide. The Amazonians were doing it. The Indians were doing it. Baby comes, we found ourselves in very bad economic situations where it's difficult to take care of the community. The last thing we need is overpopulation. So if you don't have an abortion, if you're pregnant, they will certainly take the baby from you when the baby is born. China restricted every family to one child. Second child, gone. Up until the 1800s in the United States, abortion was legal. Nobody even thought about it. It wasn't even a thing. Nobody cared. But the influence of religion and the Catholic Church and the Southern Baptist movement in the 1800s is what spurred these sudden realization that there's something wrong with abortion, and now you want to, make it illegal across the board without taking into consideration, number one, what does a woman want? Do you want a child or not?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Number two, how did you get pregnant? Were you raped?
Mm-hmm.
Number three, if you were raped by a family member, maybe your father, your brother, your uncle, what kind of child are you going to have? Exactly what is this child going to look like when the child is born? What if you're pregnant and there's something wrong with your pregnancy? The woman is endangered. Would you rather she died than have an abortion to save her life so that she could at least have the opportunity to have another child when she chooses?
Yes.
Or do you just want to terminate the mother because of this baby over here that is about to kill the mom, and then deny future generations the opportunity to add another person to the population? What exactly are you trying to curb here? And here's a funny fact. 95% of all the countries in Europe, just about every country in Europe, abortion is legal. The only difference is at what time is it legal? Is it 12 weeks? Some people permit it up to 24, 28 weeks, believe it or not. In Europe, it's a question of when do you terminate the pregnancy. It's not whether it's legal or not legal. In some countries, abortion, regardless of what your reason is legal. In conservative countries like in Africa, in the old days, and I'm talking about pre-1800s, pre-colonization, the way the society was structured and the level of what we consider taboo, for example, you just didn't go around having sex. You were married. You were married, whether the man had 1, 2, 3 wives, it doesn't really matter. You were married before you were going to have a baby.
Morality.
Mm-hmm.
Morality dictated everything. Nobody was going to marry anybody who was not a virgin.
Mm-hmm.
Because most people are, what was the word, betrothed. Some of them at birth. That was the culture. So the morality and the spiritual culture of the people dictated when somebody is born, when somebody is not born, blah, 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 blah. And maybe the medical practices was not sophisticated enough for you to know if there was going to be something wrong with the baby when the baby is born. What kind of life will this baby live when the baby is born? Is the baby going to be disabled? Are they going to have such chronic illness and, just things wrong with this child that living just absolutely is worse than hell? It's a punishment. It's not a life worth living. Not to talk about the mental anguish of the parents that are watching this child suffer through life, and they have to, for love of being a parent, have to try to take care of this baby that can't take care of itself. All these things have to be considered. In Brazil, abortion is totally illegal. Whether you're raped by your dad, no matter what, you cannot have abortion. But remember, Brazil is a Catholic nation. It is illegal in Honduras. It's a Catholic nation. It's illegal in Nicaragua. All these Central African nations, abortion is illegal over there. But the indigenous population, those primordial part, the primordial part of the community, those people that were there before Cortez showed up in South America, and then instituted, changed the culture of the people, and everybody now, ended up as a Catholic, as a Christian, and all that. Those people themselves were practicing infanticide and abortion. It was part of their culture. It's the influx of the European that changed the dynamics. In America, most people that performed abortions were Black women. with their knowledge of herbs and all that. Men were not involved in gynecology practice. It was midwives, Native Americans, Black women, and some white women. The first abortion law was how do you say, focused on Black women because white men owned slaves. The Black woman's body belonged to the white man. So the first abortion laws was targeted at, for economic reasons, slavery was targeted at Black women. You couldn't abort a child. If your master raped you, you were going to have that child, and that child was going to be enslaved. If you had sex with anybody and you didn't want that baby because of the conditions that Black folks were living under, you just couldn't bring a child in. You couldn't have an abortion. It was illegal. It was against the law. If you did it, you get jailed if you don't get lynched. You were property. It was economic. It had nothing to do with the Lord and all that. It was just a facade. It was a disguise. Bottom line is, no one person is one thing all the time. There are certain things about abortion that I don't like. There are certain things about abortion that I don't have any arguments about. For example, rape, the health of the child, the health of the mother,
the age of the child.
The age of the child, all those things that negatively influence a happy pregnancy should not be outlawed under a restrictive law that doesn't take those things into consideration.
Yeah.
Now, I'll be against any woman who got pregnant on their own, and then you decide at 4 or 5 months you want to get rid of the baby, you don't want the baby. Well, excuse me. Also understand that a lot of the laws that we have right now is also geared towards a government, a racist government that feels that abortion should not be included in like Medicaid and all this, free medical services that people of color, so to speak, Black folks get, and they don't want to spend that money for Black women having abortions because they're receiving government benefits. So it's another way of cutting funding to those Black women so that they don't, the white man doesn't feel like they're paying for these services for these Black women because they're all just having babies. So I'm on the fence on it. When it comes to something that prevents a happy pregnancy, I'm sorry. The woman has a right over her body and has a right to make that judgment. If the doctor decides that this is not good for you, if it's emotionally not prudent for this woman to have this baby because she was raped, or for a 10-year-old or 12-year-old, because children as young as 6 and 7 have been known to have babies. And for you to force a 7-year-old to have a child because you have an abortion law is just ludicrous, as far as I'm concerned.
It's inhuman. It's inhumane.
Bottom line, there are restrictions and there are parts of the abortion law that I agree with. But the part that I don't agree with is, 1, telling a woman what to do with her body. Number 2, telling her that she has to keep a baby and go through that pregnancy under whatever illegal or emotionally distressing circumstances, that she must have that baby. I just think that's inhuman. There is nothing about the restricting abortion across the board that is going to do anybody any good other than appease those people in power because of their religion used for economic reasons that restrict abortion to Black folks.
Well, and may I add this? It is important to remember one thing, and that one thing is this. The argument is that that law is not part of the constitution of this country. Do you understand? Well, there are so many other things that are not in the constitution, but are just like common sense, a collective decision made by the citizens that this should be so. You've got interracial marriage. It's not in the constitution. It's not protected in the constitution. What about that? What about handicapped children? It's not protected in the
Okay, I don't mean to stop you, but let me just ask you a question real quick. Who writes the Constitution? Who writes that law?
Well, the men. The men
No, I mean, what government body? Is it the Congress?
Well,
Senate?
I think it's the. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't want to say what I don't know. But the point I'm trying to make, however, is there are so many other things that we take for granted as our human rights. That's not in that. You will think. Well, first of all, you will think that as an American, you have the right to vote. You will think that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Even if it's not in the Constitution, you will think that's the number. Why should any segment be able to vote? And another segment is, and then we are paying taxes and all. So it's not just abortion. It's not, and people need to understand it's not all about that. It's about power, wresting power from our hands and putting it in the hands of the, that's what it is. If you go in there, there are so many things that are frightening that you know will follow this. I said earlier, they're already talking about, there's a governor that's talking about stopping public education. That means if you cannot afford to send your child to public school, that child will not get an education. But that governor wants to ban abortions as well. Let me give Dibia Chiedozie Okoro an opportunity to speak at this point. Dibia and Dewo. Huh?
Yeah, we could hear you.
Go ahead. You're very low. You may want to increase the volume of your, because I can hear you, but not quite well.
Okay. The volume, it's a little faint.
The volume is low.
Okay, can you hear me?
A little bit better.
That is at 0.95, volume 95.
There we go. It's good now.
100. Okay.
Yes.
It's better now.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
What I understand about this is not whether it's about abortion, but it's about the personality of the Black woman, the woman of color, and also the Black people. So it's about the fundamental right. Who is the Black man?
It's frozen.
And now we are particularly in the United States. From the little, I didn't begin with you, but from what the little I gathered, that's my understanding. And I think it's something that is worth fighting for, because it's a democracy. It's a democracy. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello? Make
yeah, we could hear you.
To be heard, then you'll be what we are doing is the right thing. The voice of the Black woman and the voice of the Black people must be heard, and it must be championed by someone who knows the politics, because life is about politics. And it's been an ongoing fight from the time of slavery till today. I think just about last year or so, when Trump was there was an issue of the Black Lives Matters, Black woman matters. And what life are we talking about? Life of the Black woman to have a choice over what she does with herself, her body, including her soul, her being, when it comes to childbearing and child rearing. Now, we are in the modern age, so a lot of things have to change. And if we are talking about life, we should put priority on the life that brings other life into being. That is to say, the woman.
Yes.
Because without the woman, there will be no baby carrier. Yeah, nobody to bear the baby in the womb. nobody to take care of the baby. Though we may devise other means, but that would be that we have of the woman to take it to her choice to take care of her baby. We can develop test tubes and other things, other artificial means. But insofar as we are talking about society, we are talking about the human being. Society is functioned for the human being, by the human being. And then what makes a society is that every member of that society, of what we call society, must have a sense of solidarity, a sense of belongingness. So once we feel that we don't have that, we must protest. And the protest must keep on. We must carry the protest on until we're ahead and until decisions are taken in our favor to include our interest. That's the liberty. Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Thank you. Dr. Simone, do you have anything else you want to add at this point?
I would say that, like I said, we have to look at the whole picture. A lot of people don't look at everything. They're looking, they're on Roe side or Wade side or Democrat or Republican or this or that. And we have to look at the whole picture of what is going on. And so the thing is, like you guys were saying, when it comes to rape, when it comes to you may be carrying a disabled child, when it comes to a very young child having to bear a child, when it comes to you dying if you bring this child forth, these are very good reasons that a person would have to have abortion. But then, you have to look at the other side of, people and their lifestyle and talking about, like we said, and back in the day, in the past, a lot more people had more morals when it came to having sex. There wasn't a lot of people just going out and having one night stands and all of these things that people are doing now and not being as responsible, and then doing things that doing things just not being responsible. And so the way that things are structured now, we have to just take more responsibility as women. We have to not only that, look at the big picture. I think that the abortion law, eliminating abortion, is just not a good thing, because there are circumstances that you should that abortion, just like any other medical treatment, is necessary. And so we must look at and how that is going to impact the Black community. So the thing is, we're women right now, Black women are being, again, killed in the hospitals when they're having their children. Their children are also, there's mortalities with the children that are preventable. And this is something that the government knows. This is something that has gone all the way to the United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to look at, okay, so why are they putting these laws in place when it comes to the Black woman, to the African woman? Why are these putting in place? It's not because they want you to have all these children. It is not because of that. They know the numbers. They know the numbers of mortalities that will happen as a result of this being put in place. They know if a baby is in a woman's tubes, how often that occurs, and if they do not allow her to get abortion, how many mortalities that will cause, and how that will decrease our population.
That's right. Say it again. That's it. Say it again. That's right.
Yep.
Not just women, not just women, us as a whole, because the child is coming through the woman.
Yes.
So if the woman is not there anymore, then she can't bring forth any more children.
That's right.
If she dies because the baby was in her tubes, and she dies because they couldn't simply do a procedure that will allow her to live and be able to bring forth more children that are not in her tubes, then they know that's going to stop. That's going to decrease our population.
Our population, yes.
Like Willie Lynch, they have this down to a science with our community. They have it down to science. And so the thing is, we have to understand, look at the whole picture. Look at the
exactly.
whole, not Roe, Wade, and all of that. Look at the whole picture and how it affects our community. Because white people, they want white women to have more children. That keeps them, they know that the people of color population is rising, and soon their population is going to decrease. They know that, and so they have to put systems in place to keep themselves on top. And so you have to understand what is this all about? What is the real reason?
You know what, Dr. Mone, I had that's why, quite frankly, I get really annoyed with these people that think it's about Jesus. They think it's about the Lord. There is not. Go and read your Bible and see what the Bible does to babies. So don't use that moral nonsense with me.
Another thing is, how many people have Catholics killed?
Thank you. Come on.
How many? Mass murder. Genocide.
It is not about
the world. And you're telling me these people, these Catholics, really care about a life of a child?
Okay.
No, they have been killing for thousands of years.
And criminalizing it.
Children, people in a whole, mass genocide.
Go. Now, I want to add this. Thank you, Dr. Mone. Thank you, all of you, for what you have said here. One of the most, the difficulty for me is when our people are not paying attention.
Yes.
This is not about what the Lord wants. Mm-hmm. It's not about that. And Dr. Mone, you hit it on the head. Depopulation starts with depopulating the Black community, the Black woman. If abortion is going to kill, you're out of the way. If abortion is going to be criminalized, you're going to be imprisoned. Mm-hmm. Because you see, the people that will be most desperate. Now, let me tell you something. If babies are born, white children are born, and the parents decide, oh, I want you to, I don't want to keep this child. I want this child adopted. What's going to happen? Oh, there'll be many parents. Many white parents will be ready to adopt these white kids. Mm-hmm. How many of them are ready to adopt your children when you make that decision? Right? Not too many, I add, because there's so many of them in foster care. There's so many of them right now in orphanages that are not being adopted. So now you're having a whole bunch of them. So they're removing the mothers, you're dying. Then you're going to prison. This is not about abortion, my people. Wake up. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wake up. And you just said it. In the past, you couldn't have it because there was a reason for it. Because they wanted slaves. Mm-hmm. So the more of us that we had, they were used for slaves, right? So we don't want to get rid of them. That's number one. But now there's another purpose. It's still the same thing. It seems to me that if I cannot vote, you wouldn't want my children here to vote, would you? Mm-hmm. I am a grown person and I cannot vote, why do you want a bunch of Black children? When you know you're not going to want them to vote. So what is the real reason why you want us to have all these babies? The reasons our people should understand, it's not about religion. It's not about what the Lord wants. It's not about morality. Mm-mm. That's not what it is, because religion is full of immoral acts. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't use that lie to justify and cover a lie that we are trying to figure out right now. So you said it. There is an ulterior motive. I don't know. I can't put my hands on it specifically, but because there's so many options. But the point of the matter is, as Dibia Chiedozie said, we must be cognizant, aware, know what's going on, speak up. It is about you. It is mainly us that suffer. Because those children that will be adopted will not be yours. They're the ones that will be primed for jail. You know, we got to populate the jail. Hey, I'm not just saying this. This is real stuff. How many? Who make up the jail population? Who?
It's blacks.
Black folks.
People.
People from underprivileged background.
There you go.
Yes.
So don't come and tell me you love my babies. You want me to have these babies that you're gonna love? Are you kidding me? When
It's
more
not
black
about
women are going to die, and when those children come, they're not going to be fed. They don't go to have a roof over their heads because you refuse to provide it. Now you don't even want them to get an education.
And
it's all about, somebody said that, I just want to read this right quick. This is Akachi. Akachi said this is about the white ideological right and conservative power structure whose goal is to make America, quote unquote, great again. That's what it is. You have to put things in place to make America great again. It doesn't include you. If you die off trying to have these babies, okay. If you go and try to do it on your own, you'll be imprisoned. They are blocking every way that you can help yourself as a person of color. And then when the white children are born, I know where they're going. Oh yeah, they'll be adopted. But is it every white woman wants her child adopted? No. There are white women who want power over their bodies, who don't want to be a part of that. But I guarantee you that those babies who are born to Caucasian mothers, they will find homes. Look at what's going on in the war in Ukraine. You see the love?
yes.
You see the love, outpouring of love? Protect them. They have children that are going to school. But when the Syrians tried to come here, what would they do? They were called terrorists. People of color are not, that anybody telling you to have more of you is not advocating for your own good. You got to look under the surface and see what's there. You had your hand up.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted to point to a few things that everybody on the panel has said. First of all, there is nowhere in the Bible that abortion was condemned by God. It doesn't exist. In all the books in the Bible, there is nowhere in the Bible that anybody cared about the sanctity of life as far as pregnancy is concerned. Doesn't exist. Anybody who thinks I'm wrong, prove me that I'm wrong, prove me wrong. Go ahead and do it. It doesn't exist. Hold on a second. Okay. It doesn't exist. Secondly, when the Pharaoh refused passage of to let the people of Israel go, God murdered every first son of the Egyptians. This same God that Christians tell me that is responsible for their abortion laws, particularly the Catholics. God murdered every first son of the Egyptians. Yeah, God don't want you to have abortion, but God sure as hell will murder your kid if you don't do what God wants. Is this the same God that cares if you abort a child or not? And to make matters worse, the Pharaoh was not even responsible for refusing to let the people of Israel go. In the Bible, it says that God hardened his heart.
Yes.
The Pharaoh had nothing to do with all the evil that he was accused of perpetrating against the Israelis. God used the Pharaoh to teach the Israelis a lesson that he is their God. and that he must be respected. His command must be obeyed. They must do what their God wants them to do. And he was going to use the Pharaoh. Every time Moses comes in, God hardens the Pharaoh's heart and then sends some pestilence, locust, to prove to the Israelis that I am your God. Every evil that happened, biblically speaking, was perpetrated by this same God that they tell you is against abortion. How many people did God murder in the land of Canaan? Because he promised it to the Hebrews. Who killed more people than God, as far as the Bible is concerned? Where do I start and where do I end? And even in the end, he's going to come and smite everybody. And the only people that are going to be spared are 144,000 people from the 12 tribes of Israel, and black folks ain't even going to be part of it. But when it comes to extolling this biblical God, we're the first one to do it. Mm-hmm. Jesus this, Jesus that, Jesus this, Jesus that. If you take a people's concept of God from them, they become destitute, stupid, and violent, and will forever justify their worth by standards that is not of their own choosing. Nobody extolled Trump and this Christian theology more than black folks. The same people whose slavery was justified.
Nigerians right now. Nigerians, right? I'm
Nigerians
sorry,
right
my
now.
brothers and sisters, let them hear it. Nigerians who vote Trump in.
We are, excuse me, I'm a priest and all, but I'm going to use the word. We the most stupid people in the world. They don't get no more stupider than black folks, particularly people from my tribe. We extol the very theology that justified our colonization, our enslavement, that relegated us to third-class citizens. There's a book called the Book of Jonah. It's another version of the Bible. People of African ancestry were described as the Druks, D-R-U-K-S, the people in the underground, the black people in the underground that do not deserve the kingdom of God. That's what one of the versions of the Bible, the book of Jonah, categorized black people as. My thing is simply this. If black people all over the world, here in the United States and Africa, if we theologically revolt against the religious philosophies that continues to enslave us today, we will rise to prominence. People outside of Africa, the Europeans in particular, will lose the power they have over us, and we will thrive.
Yes.
We just got to step up. We got to understand that some of this love that we ourselves are fighting for, with those people that instituted the same laws that would discredit and is of no advantage to us, that we are really the ones that are responsible for whatever hell that is being perpetrated on us right now, because we don't have the guts, we don't have the education, we don't have the fortitude in our stomachs to stand up as one and say, enough is enough. These laws do not benefit us in any way. And as a matter of fact, all these white people are getting upset right now, particularly the white women are getting upset because now this law is affecting them. It's affecting them, not because they care about what's happening to black folks, black women in particular. What's going to happen to the future population of the white race or the black race. It is because there is no restriction in this law that gives them any advantage. Because if there was a restriction in this law that gave them any advantage over people of African ancestry or people of Hispanics in this country or any other race, they would not be out there marching against the termination of Roe versus Wade. But in this law, there is no way for the people making this law to separate the races and make it convenient for one race and inconvenient for another race. We've all been lumped into this, group where everybody is going to be affected equally. Like Dr. Simone says, the only difference now is, number one, how do you access abortion? Because it's illegal. And number two, the what do you call it? The Black women that, you know, have issues when they go to the hospital to give birth, and, you know, Black women die in childbirth and all that kind of stuff. The proportion is higher in African communities than it is with the other ones. The other ones seem to get better medical care than we do. So there's a lot of termination of mothers in the hospital. People dying of childbirth is higher in the Black community than it is in the white community. So there's a disadvantage for us. That's the only thing I see. But white folks, white women are all upset about this law now because they've been locked into the same category as everybody else, and all of a sudden they have no control over their bodies and their men. But I guarantee you, if there was a way to give them more or better advantage in the banning of abortion, they will not be out in the street marching. It's affecting everybody. So I don't want to hear this stuff about the Bible saying, because the Bible didn't say anything. I don't want to hear about Christians talking about the sanctity of life when their God in the Bible is the greatest murderer of all time. That's my opinion, and that's how I feel about it.
Very true. Chiedozie. Dibia Chiedozie, are you frozen?
Looks like he's frozen.
Can you hear us?
Or sleeping.
No. He's frozen. He's frozen.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chiedozie.
Frozen, right? The network here is terrible. All right. I just wanted us to look at two things. Usually, people don't go beyond their traditional metaphysical worldview. And the traditional metaphysical worldview of the Caucasian is to ensure that power floats to one side. Their metaphysics have never created a balance of two sides or multiple sides. No. And that is why that metaphysics is the foundation of liberalism. It is the foundation of the Christian faith. Everything about the Caucasian is always lopsided. Unfortunately, our people, because we have been dislodged from our spirituality, don't know that we are the ones that have the spirituality, the metaphysics for world balance, because our metaphysics is about balance between two and multiple things. The Caucasians, the Jews, the Arabs, their metaphysics can never create a balance in the society. And so there will always be this disunity, creating acrimony between the sexes and amongst the races. The traditional metaphysics of the West, whether it is Christianity, whether it is liberalism, whether it is capitalism, tries by creating controversies, deliberately so.
Yes.
It tries by creating controversy. And the watchword is not to create unity. The watchword is to create division. And the more division they create, they always have one thing up the sleeve. And that is what Dibia Ochuaja said. Power, control of power. And this time around, Ochuaja said, the watchword this time around is control of world population. They want a total cut in world population. And it didn't start today. When it favors them, they will use abortion to check world population. When it favors them, and for economic reasons, they allow you to have more babies. But the point there is that whether this time around, the law is targeted against every woman in the United States, it is more to the disadvantage of the Black woman, the colored woman. That's the point here.
Are you frozen again?
And the only way our people can understand this, Christian, the spiritual Caucasian. We lost out because we didn't understand their metaphysics. The Asians have been able to withstand the Caucasians because the Asians, the first the Arabs, and they knew that the metaphysics, once they allowed culture, that metaphysics would disembowel their metaphysics. So that is why you find that the Asians fought to the last drop of their blood to ensure that the Christianity didn't take root in Asia. If it takes root, it is not the official religion. It remains by the side. You will see that throughout all of Asia, India, be it in China, be it in Korea, North or South, they don't allow Christianity or Islam to be the main bowl of their culture, because the metaphysics is that of creating controversy, creating disavowalment, acrimony, division. It's never about uniting. And there's always going to be fight between the white woman, the white man is superior. The Bible does not say that the woman has equal rights with the man. It says the woman should submit to the will of the husband. That is not how it is among us, especially for us Igbo that I know. It is not that the woman should submit absolutely. The woman has her rights. So we should educate our people, and we need more of this program. We should educate our people to know that the spirituality of the Christ is not about peace. It's not about care. It's not about love. It's about lopsided care, lopsided empathy, lopsided sympathy, lopsided love. It is not about love that includes the totality of the humanity. You will not make it a priority that except I follow a particular name or a particular direction as a group of people, not because of who don't qualify to heaven, because they don't believe in a particular name or they didn't follow a particular religion. It means that that religion is not designed for the whole world. It's designed for a particular reason. We must educate our people to understand this. It is when we understand the nitty-gritty of the metaphysics, the underground, underpinning politics, that will be able to read through the intentions, hidden intentions, subterranean intentions of the so-called power mongers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, I thank you so much. I want to pick up on what you had said, and we give the children mwabuego or makego. You know, a child is greater than money. All right, and usually giving birth is such a powerful thing for the family because of the good that comes with it. You know, it's not supposed to be anything that punishes the family or punishes the child, or it's supposed to be we have a love fest when a child is born. It's such a beautiful thing. And so for us, it was never a big issue. And Dibia Ochuaja said it earlier. That is the fact that when a woman gets pregnant, all right, when a woman gets pregnant, it is not about what the community wants necessarily, or what the government wants. When a child is born, it's supposed to give joy to the immediate family. So it's that immediate family's joy that carries over to the joy in the community. You see what I'm saying? So there's no punishment for the family for a child being born or a child not being born. It's the family celebrates the child that's coming, and then it translates into joy for the community. But if the family is not happy with that child or the child that's being born, then the community is not happy, because the family is not showing joy for having this child coming to the world. So what we are having now is it's a spiritual detachment from what having a child is. It's now being used as a power struggle. It's almost like a power struggle between a woman and men. It's not a joyful thing. As you know, a baby's being born and we're happy. You know, this is what we're going to do for this child. No, it's now you're going to have the child because we have to build up our population. We have to have this child because I said so. We got to have this child because, hey, we want to trim population. For whatever the reason is, it's not always what the woman wants. So the spiritual joy of having a child, the family celebrating and bringing the community in, that one is gone now. Now, if you don't want a child, how many people in the community are you going to invite to come in? How many? If I'm upset that I'm going to have this child, who do I want to come into my house and help me celebrate my anger? Who in the community am I going to draw in? Because I'm not happy with what's happening. It's a joyful thing. And Chiedozie, you know, when the child is born, we're all screaming, I'm with you, I'm with you. Oh, well, you know what I'm saying? We are excited because that child brings joy to her family, and that joy is translated into a joy that is embraced by the community. That's why it's such a big deal. But you have a bunch of women who don't want these children, or maybe their health is not in order because of the child, and the child is maybe deformed. Where is the joy of having a child? There's no joy. So now it's a burden. It's a burden for the child, it's a burden for the mother, it's a burden for the father. And that's why I said earlier, men, this is going to be a burden for you too. Don't look at it as, thank God I'm a woman. No, thank God I'm not a woman. Oh no, well, hold up. She's not going to get pregnant without you. And when she does, welcome to the world of daddyhood. So now, Dr. Mone, you said something that really concerns me in terms of what this does to the Black community, even to our Black dads, to the Black men. Not only are you going to lose your women, and I'm talking about women of color. Not only are you going to lose your women, possibly through death, childbirth, you are going to see them carted off to jail.
Yes.
Now, you see, it used to be mothers staying home to take care of the babies while dad goes to jail. Sorry, that's the way they have it set up. So it's just single parent homes. Dad's not there. Maybe he's in jail somewhere. Now mama's going to be in jail. Now dad's got to take care of that baby. And maybe dad is 14 years old. Or maybe 13. Because they're getting engaged in sexual activities at such a young age. I mean, this is going to create a lot. And Chie said it earlier. We should stop saying that this is a religious thing, a religious mandate by God, because it's not. It is not. And that's why I said earlier, that is a contract between ChinEke. ChinEke gives your womb the opportunity to have a child. That's the contract. I'll make it possible for you to have a child. But it's still your responsibility to understand what comes with that. The contract is, okay, you're female, this is what make it possible to have a child. But you got to raise that child. You have to take that child. So you have to make decisions about that opportunity, that gift that you have. That's that contract. It's between you and ChinEke. Between you and, of course, your husband or your better half, whatever. But for the government now, I mean, I'm a mother of young women. It scares the heck out of me. What if this happens to them? They're going to be forced to have children? Because I've had the conversation, we got to be careful. This is not about, and I'll keep saying it and saying it, this is not about you saving the lives of some babies. It's not about that. It's about some underlying something that we probably don't know. We better start looking into. Chiedozie, thank you. Go ahead. Chiedozie, go ahead.
Yeah, just this point you mentioned, it's not about the life of the baby. Yeah, okay. I said you just said something that it's not about the life of. How can you talk about the life of the baby without the life of the mother? It's like talking about adopting a child and not adopting the mother. It is not part of our culture. In our culture, if you are adopting a child, you must adopt the mother along. You don't adopt the child and leave the mother. This is part of the problem of the metaphysics of the Caucasian. Always one. That is why their God will prefer one child to another. He will prefer Isaac, which is the second born of Abraham, over Ishmael. And you can see the kind of war that is and trouble it is costing us in the world today. Two brothers, Esau and Jacob, the God a Jacob that is the junior over the one that is senior, and see what crisis is causing in that region called Palestine. You know, the kind of really you want to make a law about the freedom of the woman. You cannot make a law about the woman that dichotomizes, divides the woman, must protect the child. And the law that protects priority should be the woman, not the child. Because the woman is the one who carries the child, who takes care of the child. And so when you take this kind of law, you deny the woman the fundamental right of being a woman and deciding to be a mother. It's a denial of the right, the freedom to be a mother. Because when you say you put priority on the child or the woman, you have denied the woman the fundamental right of womanhood, of motherhood. This point must be made very clearly.
That's right. And somebody did ask, thank you so much, Dibia Chiedozie. Akachi said something that is interesting. What do we do? Get out of Texas? Well, get out of Texas, that's for sure. Texas right now is making it absolutely difficult for a woman. I mean, it's just difficult to be a woman there. Now, we have to get to the point that we talk about, okay, what do we do now? Dr. Symona said it before, and I'll give you a chance to say it again. What you said before is this: we must be careful. We must be careful, do what we must do, contraceptives and all of that, whatever it takes, so that we don't get pregnant. Now, some men say that they don't want to use condom. Sisters, yes, he does. And if he doesn't, the answer is no. You know what? Y'all need to learn to say no. Learn to say no. Man can love pregnancy out of your way. He will get you pregnant.
Yes.
A man who loves you will understand that at this moment, unless it's a child that you want, you should not get pregnant. So whatever it takes to prevent you from getting pregnant, you must do that. You have to ask yourself this question: what is important to me now? Sometimes you got to get a little selfish. Get a little selfish. Mba. If you don't know how to say no in English, let me teach it to you in Igbo. Mba. Or dig it. Bukwebe. Obowota.
Yes.
Gaje, I'll teach you all that. You have to get a little selfish.
Oh, boy.
A man who loves you would understand not just what this does to you, but what it does to him as well, and the baby that will come. You know, men are now told that they can sue the woman and get money. You can hunt a woman down that has had an abortion and get paid for it How we getting what? It's true.
Wow.
They will pay you for hunting down a woman who had an abortion. You get paid. That's a whole different kind of industry being set up. Abortion hunters.
Right, right.
No,
Welcome to Texas.
It's true.
Yep.
This is true. That's what's going on in Texas. And it's going to go be most. The woman is now being hunted for trying to take control of her body.
And
Udee.
that's
Christianity. And I'm saying Christianity because a lot of, some people say, well, why are you picking on Christians? No, I'm not. A lot of this mayhem is coming out of your philosophy. Christianity is only interested in dominance. Dominate every aspect of your life for power, economic power, moral control over your behavior. So when you control the mind, you control everything. Stephen Biko said that.
Yes.
The greatest tool in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. They don't have to put chains over here.
That's right.
Or chains around your neck. They just need to get in here. There are some moral issues that we in the African community need to understand. First thing is, religiously speaking, Christianity was not designed for our good. It was designed to control us. It was designed to remove us from our primordial core, immerse us into something that has nothing to do with us as people of African ancestry. It's not part of our genesis. We built societies, controlled behavior, ruled ourselves, had our own economies, had our own legal system, had our own cultural and social systems. All human systems are products of religion, and our primordial human system came out of our spiritual core. It came out of our realization that there's something greater than oneself, and that something is the almighty ChinEke. That's how human systems were built. That's how human systems were built in Africa. That's how human systems were built in Asia. That's how human systems were built in Europe, in South America, in the Amazon. It is based on your spiritual culture. John Henry Clark says that we always tell somebody else's story, but we haven't told our own story yet. There is nothing about this abortion law that has anything to do with us as Black folks. I catch you ask the question, where do we go from here? We can only talk about us as Black folks. We already know what white folks want to do. They want to keep controlling you. Every Sunday, you go to extol the same spiritual philosophy that justified your enslavement in the first place. The greatest tragedy in our African communities is the Sunday sermon. And we believe that this abortion law, when we haven't even read the Bible, when we don't have enough deep thinking to understand that even in the Bible never addressed abortion. The Bible never, thou shalt not kill, is supposed to be a universal religious tenet. But I tell you one thing, if you come to kill me, do you think I'm going to sit there obeying thou shalt not kill? If you come to hurt my children or my wife with a gun, a knife, or any kind of weapon, do you think that I give a damn or care about thou shalt not kill? If I have to tell a lie to get out of trouble, do you think I care about thou shalt not lie? Do you think I want to tell the truth and get lynched? But the truth is they're evil. That's the truth of it. The truth is there is nothing about abortion law that in America that has anything to do with your well-being as a Black person. People in our African communities all over the world, particularly here in the United States, we need to start practicing a little bit of sexual constraint, morality.
Yes.
You don't need to get pregnant because you want to keep a man. Now the man finds out that you're pregnant. He says, I don't want this relationship. He's going to dump you. Now you want to go get an abortion.
Absolutely.
You have to practice a little bit of moral decency in your life.
Yes.
You need to stop trying to be like them, thinking that I could do whatever it is I want is part of modernism. No, it's not. You're stupid, because in the end, you're paying the price for it. You don't need to get pregnant to keep a man who's not mad at you because you're pregnant. Now you want abortion. Now you want to complain that you can't get an abortion because you allowed yourself to get pregnant in the first place. He doesn't want to use a condom. Well, that's too bad, brother. You want to get with me? You need to go get some condoms. And if you need to get on a pill or use whatever contraceptive method that you need to use, do it. It is healthier. Unless maybe you haven't gotten married and now you're in your late 30s or whatever, and you're like, you know what, I got to have me a child. Then that is because you want the child. And if you got pregnant, I am confident 100% that you want to keep and love that baby. That baby is not an accident because you planned on it.
Yes.
But beyond that, get married.
Yes.
Start exploring your morality. Do the right thing like we did in Africa before the European came to Africa.
Yes.
We didn't have people getting married and having abortions and all that.
Nope.
It wasn't part of our core. That's not what we do. But we've lost that since we've been colonized and enslaved, and we've run into Christianism.
And you know what? The men, our men, African men, not so much that the woman has to be a virgin and all of that. They have pride that they married somebody and they themselves did not get the woman pregnant. I married her because this is the first time I'm doing anything with her.
Yeah.
My wedding day. They understood that the woman, has to be respected. They didn't go back to having, sexual intercourse with women that they didn't marry. That's the way it was.
Wait.
So it wasn't just, you wait. It just wasn't the woman who was supposed to control himself.
The man too.
All, if the women belong to us, you don't want to be the one sowing your seed all over the place and getting them pregnant. And what about the other men? Then they can't marry women who are virgins. And being a virgin is a cultural. It's
a cultural thing. In the West, it's not a big deal anymore here.
Body. It means that you have control. You respect yourself. Now, all of this Eurocentrism that we have adopted now say, it's okay.
No, it's not.
You see the women, they sleep with this one and sleep with that woman, sleep with that, and then the man comes and marries them, maybe because the wig fits real nice, or they have a certain look. It didn't matter their morality. They didn't matter what they do. Oh, it's time to get married. You don't even want to know what that person has done.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Nothing encouraging women to respect their bodies anymore. Do you understand? After all, there's condom. We just use a condom.
Yeah.
Or then we'll have an abortion.
It's crazy.
I just want to finish with my thought here. If we pay attention to the objective of what's going on, then we've got to develop a totally different attitude about how we engage with our men and women.
Yes.
Because you don't want to get her pregnant. You, the man, get responsible. Don't get her pregnant because her life may depend on that. And when I say her life, not just the birthing of the child, I'm talking about the possibility that she may go to jail. We can stop a whole lot of things if we become responsible African people.
Proactive.
Some of the traditions, some of our traditions that they say is what do you call it?
Primitive.
We're good traditions.
Yeah.
We're good traditions. Remember, like Kalfani said, the woman is the seed. A seed grows. That's a Bantu proverb, I imagine. She's a seed. You don't want to pour water on that seed if she's not ready. If the environment is not ready for that seed to come up. Hold up. My dear brothers, we love you.
Yes.
You have your children. But please, some of these women, in the heat of the moment, people do foolish things. There's an African proverb that says, "Ariga de abo abera."
Yeah.
Ariga de abo abera. That means two people can't be crazy at the same time. You do crazy stuff. One person has to be sane. Sister, if it's not you, brother, then it's you. We got to protect ourselves and save our brothers and our children, and save our wives, because there's an attack on your sisters.
Yes.
If you're a person of color, this is going to mess your house, your community up. It will. And your offspring may be the ones that are going to jail, to fill the jailhouse. So be careful for yourself, so that your life doesn't become a collection of the paychecks that go somewhere else instead of your bank account to do what you need. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's very important. And sisters, come on, we can hug kids and all that stuff. Listen. Do the right things for yourself and your partner and that unborn baby, so that when that baby comes, you actually want it and you can take care of it. Not throwing it, not have it because you're forced to. And what scares me, of course, is those poor babies that will be thrown out. You guys know that happens. Or those women who are going to start using, what do you call it? The hangers.
Hangers and all that. Mm-hmm.
And all that crude stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We can't be both crazy. If you want to know how that's spelled, get in touch with me and I'll write it out for you. Two people can't be crazy at the same time. There's an Igbo proverb. You wanted to say something, Dr. Mone?
Yes, I want to say, just like your Excellency, Queen Mother, Auntie, like you were saying, when you bring a baby into the world, we have to get back. And that's why this show is so important to our roots, our African roots, and where we came from. Because we have to know what it is to bring a child into this world. Unfortunately, and I talk about this in my class, my workshop that I do called African Systematic Trauma Recovery. We have to, there's one class that I have titled From Plantation to Incarceration. And so you have to realize this is not a religious thing or reason that they're putting this in place. When the crack epidemic happened, that was to lock black men up and break up the black family. Believe it or not, there was a time where African Americans had families.
Yes, say it again.
My grandmother was married for 60. My grandmother and grandfather. My grandmother passed, rest in peace, but before she died, she was married 65 years. My mother has been married 45 years. And that was not uncommon in our society. But what happened? It was purposely. Things were set in place to break up the black family. Let's lock these black men up in their marrying age. When they would be getting married, getting wives, let's lock them up. Let's put drugs in the community. First of all, let's impact them economically, where they will feel for survival that they have to sell these drugs, and let's lock them up because they don't have a means of taking care of their families. This was done purposely, and it's still affecting us now. People are not understanding how volatile of a situation we are in. Just because they're not lynching, you don't see a black man hanging from a tree, does not mean that they don't have the rope still tied around your neck. Now they're coming after the black women. So this law, they're not gonna lock up white women. They're gonna lock up black mothers. And what are they gonna do? Put these children in foster care system.
Yes.
That is gonna further traumatize them.
Truth.
The foster care system traumatizes our youth. And so that's what they're going to do. because we're already traumatized. They have everything that we have built in America. They have destroyed the Black Wall Street. There was several Black Wall Streets. We have not been able to come up economically, which has caused a strain in our community. And then when we were the chemical warfare that was against us during the crack epidemic took part in breaking up our families, makes it hard for a woman to move forward in deciding if she wants to have a child and bring a child in this world or not. Things that could have been prevented if we were not attacked. There has been a systematic attack against us as African people. And so we must understand, look deeper into what is going on. Look deeper. So they lock the man up, now they're going to lock the women up.
Yeah, you go. They found a way to do it.
That further will traumatize the family. You already locked the man up. Now you're going to lock the women up. And then you're going to cause more mortalities when you're dealing with women and health problems and issues that for medical reasons, need an abortion. You're going to traumatize, you're going to cause more mortalities, which are already killing the women in the hospitals. So look deeper into really what is going on here for our community. Yeah, you have other races of people that saying, well, okay, this is not good, and they're fighting for this and that. But who is really going to be impacted? Who is really being targeted? It is us that's been targeted. There is a thing called eugenics. There's a lot of people that are in high places that do not believe that we should be here, and they believe in the elimination of African people. So you have to understand that. So don't look at what is going on, but look at what is going on in our community and how it's going to affect our community.
Okay, thank you. So well said. So well said. We have about 6 minutes to go. So Udee, I'll give you a minute.
Okay. Dr. Symona is absolutely right. One thing that we just have to understand as people of African ancestry, the laws that are passed by Christians, white folks, those with the power, whoever has the power, whoever has the gold makes the rules.
That's right.
We have no control what laws they come up with to restrict anybody from doing anything. We absolutely have no control over that. Whatever laws they pass, we get swallowed up in it, and we just have to obey. But we can control how that law affects our communities.
Yes, absolutely.
By taking into account historical, moral tenets of behavior that controls whatever law or how whatever law that is passed affects us. First, we have to practice some kind of sexual morality.
Yes.
For those that are in the hood that have less economic opportunities, having 6 babies as a single mother to get checks from the government is just going to backfire on you, because if for some reason you end up having an abortion, the 5 kids that you got left over they're now going to grow up without a mother because you're in jail. Like you mentioned, they'll be put into foster care, and the rest is history.
Okay.
So we need to control our behavior, behave in a way that positively impacts our communities so that we are not going to be terribly affected by victims of the laws that is put out there.
Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. Dibia, we got 1 minute. Dibia Chiedozie, you have 1 minute.
My take in this is just simple. You see, no matter what we do for now, the African Americans will be worst hit, worst affected. And the reason is simple. Other colored people in the United States live as a group, and they live within the prescriptions of their spirituality, be it the Jews, the Arabs, the Indians, the Chinese, the Japanese, the Koreans, the Malaysians, all these people understand what it means to live as a group, as a community. And within their community, they have their schools. And they fight within their community to get their hospitals. And they fight for their freedom by insisting that their religion insists that they must live their life in certain ways. And this is the simple point we are making here. And so, most of what we have said so far is at the short run. At the short run, what can individuals do? But the ultimate goal must be to fight to live as communities. And that's why Chiism must take root.
That's right.
All over the Black world.
Yes.
If we don't like the name Chiism, we can domesticate it in our own local languages as maybe Yoruba community, Igbo community.
Yes.
We must, so that, because what Chiism is about the African spirituality, the soul of Africa. That's what Chiism is about. So we must teach Africans to go back to their spirituality, because once you go back to your spirituality, it has a way of removing pride from you, removing stubbornness from you. It has a way of cooling you down, attaining self-realization. So you have listening ears so that your mind will come at rest. And once we begin to live as communities, then we can insist as a community the way we want to live our life. Because when we run it individually, we'll run into serious trouble. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. And I this has been very fulfilling. Thank you, all the mothers out there again. Happy Mother's Day. I want to remind you to continue to follow us on Chiism Live on Facebook. Please go there. And if you enjoyed this show, please go there and make your comments. Follow us on Facebook again, Global Faith Ministries of Chiism. And also African Spirituality Chiism Live on YouTube. I'd like to thank those that joined us on YouTube and also those who joined us from Facebook page. You guys have been a wonderful audience. Thank you for all your wonderful comments. We love you dearly, and we are going to have an exceptional show next Sunday. I'm going to be sure to send out the notices. If you have not subscribed, please do so that you can get notices of all that we are doing. Again, happy birthday. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. Happy Mother's Day to my darling mother, to all the wonderful mothers out there. Thank you for the men that make us feel very special as mothers. I want all of you to have a very wonderful day. And so it is. Have a wonderful day. Good day. And somebody said, jolly good show. Wonderful show. Thank you. We appreciate your nice comments.
All right.
Until next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.